Everyone, welcome to Plants and Politics. So, axe throwing lounges and fake COVID tests. It's time for an episode of
Get the fuck out of here. No, I cannot. It's serious.
You guys know I haven't done one of these episodes in a while if you've been following the show for quite some time. But this one was pretty good based on who these people are. So, the FBI is investigating an Illinois-based company that had COVID testing sites throughout the US. The company was called, or these COVID centers were called, Center for COVID Control. And the attorney generals for Minnesota and the state of Washington are suing this company because it appears that they not only broke a number of laws, but they also gave people false negative tests. So they gave negative test results to people who did in fact have COVID and sent them out into the world. All the while, they collected over, get this, $155 million from the federal government, our tax money. So here's the deal. Here's what they're accused of doing. The primary lab for this company is called Doctors Clinical Lab. Like I said, they're headquartered in Illinois. So keep that in mind, Doctors Clinical Lab. And they had COVID test sites, these other sites all over the US, including they had 5 in the state of Arizona. Well, they were pretty popular because they were offering free rapid and PCR tests, and it didn't require an appointment. You didn't have to have insurance. Well, the Arizona Central, that's a news outlet, they went out and spoke with some of the people who actually got tested at these sites. And they were told that this company operated out of some strange locations. They would set up in like karate studios. They had a mobile storage unit that they used at one point, and they would use a generator for electricity. And the employees didn't even bother to wear masks. They also found that the patients' tests were thrown into garbage bags. They were put in garbage bags, and then they were stored in crates that they said were just piled up. They were totally backed up. So the Minnesota and Washington attorney generals are suing this company because they say that the company often either provided delayed test results, like they just waited and waited for their results, or the patients never even got them. The company never bothered to provide the results to the patient at all. They also say that they had backdated samples. So they would backdate them to make them appear more recent. And they gave patients test results that listed a different type of test on the documentation. So they were maybe going in for a COVID test, but it said that they had some other completely different test. So Medicare is also investigating. They're specifically investigating Doctors Clinical Lab, and they found that this company didn't even have a license to practice in the state of Arizona under either of the names. And officials in Lakewood, Washington, shut down one of their testing sites because they also had no business license for that state. And according to the Arizona Central, Medicare also found that they had, quote, a massive backlog, insufficient supplies, incorrectly stored samples, improperly trained staff, and insecure confidential patient information. Then Medicare's investigation also revealed that the employees were making all kinds of errors when they were testing the samples. So they say, for instance, they weren't using a timer, so they weren't incubating the samples long enough, and then they were improperly labeling these samples. They also say that they failed to comply with Arizona reporting requirements, and the Arizona Attorney General said they haven't filed a lawsuit yet, but they're still investigating this. This is an ongoing open matter. And the health departments and or attorney generals for additional states, for Massachusetts, Maryland, and New York, have either shut down sites in their states or they issued warnings to this company. And then while they're doing all this, while this is all going on, they're giving people fake test results. They're just throwing stuff in trash bags and letting it pile up and become dated. they're raking in that more than $155 million that I mentioned. So that was through a federal program for uninsured patients. They also lied and listed some of their patients as uninsured when in fact they did have medical coverage. So they're raking in money from the government, from this federal program. They're also taking in money from insurance companies for people who did have insurance. And all the while they're doing this negligent work, and they were submitting documents to the federal government for reimbursement. So here's the real get the fuck out part of this story. The owners are a married couple, 35 and 29-year-old married couple, who created these testing sites in 2020. So it's not like these were existing testing sites or they had a different function before COVID. They launched this whole thing in 2020. So in less than 2 years, they accumulated that much money, over 155 million. And here's the real GTFO. They don't appear to even have medical experience. Their previous businesses included a wedding photography company, a donut shop, and an axe throwing lounge. What? what the hell is an axe throwing lounge anyway? I mean, it sounds kind of fun. You can get some aggression out. But anyway, USA Today apparently did an expose on this couple, and they say that since opening these allegedly criminal sites, they've purchased a $1.4 million mansion. They said it has a circular driveway, has a fountain out front. It is filled with crystal chandeliers, a curved floating staircase. And they've been posting, this couple has, they've been posting photos and videos on social media showing millions of dollars in vehicles that they've purchased, including a Lamborghini. So they're out literally spending millions, not hundreds of thousands of dollars on vehicles, millions of dollars in vehicles just since 2020, less than 2 years. One of the posts contained a caption saying that it was purchased with, quote, COVID money. Isn't that nice? And in one of the videos, the husband of, this husband and wife duo, he's heard talking with one of his employees, and he asked the employee, oh, how much money do you earn? And the employee said that his annual salary, you guys are going to spit out whatever you're eating or drinking. The employee's annual salary, according to this man, the actual employee, is $1.45 million for medical negligence, for giving people incorrect test results so that they can then go out and infect other people with COVID. This is vile. Like I said, that's our tax dollars, guys. And these people allegedly put everyone at risk by failing to conduct legitimate tests. And this went on. This has gone on now until this all came to the surface for like a year and a half, almost 2 years. Now they claim, oh, we've done nothing wrong. They say they want to clear their good names, but officials are saying, look, if you've been treated by one of these facilities, if you've gone to them for any sort of test or had any interaction, you need to come forward and you need to report your experience with these testing sites. So if you yourself, or you're watching this and you're like, oh my God, I went and got tested there, you need to go contact either or possibly both your state's health department and then the Attorney General's office for your state, because apparently they can't really do anything without patient complaints. And they say that if you need to get tested and you're concerned about the legitimacy of the site that you're visiting, you need to ask them for their CLIA license. So that stands for Clinical Laboratory Improvement Amendment. And that's a license that's issued by the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services. They're actually the governing body responsible for all COVID testing centers. So if they don't have that license, then you need to run. You need to go somewhere else. But this is unbelievable that this was allowed to go on for so long without anything happening. This is why if something seems out of the ordinary, you need to report it, because you don't know. I mean, maybe they got your test right, but God knows how many other people were tested at these sites and then went and infected a family member, a friend, a coworker, whatever the case may be. And that person died, or maybe even the person who got tested died because they didn't even realize they had COVID. And they just thought it was, a really bad flu or something else. So I hope they didn't cause the death of anyone, because, if they did, they're screwed. Their lives are over. But the fact that these places were allowed to get up and running and these people had no medical background is absolutely unreal. Like I said, that's why it was a GTFO moment and segment. So if I hear any more, guys, I'll let you know. Thanks so much for watching and listening. Take care. I'll talk with you soon.